Hello, good people. Welcome to the Othentik Wellness Hub, where we have conversations on all matters wellness. Today, we have a very interesting topic. We are talking about the gut and mental wellness. My name is Julie, and I am an organic farmer and an advocate for safe farming practices. Karibuni. With me are my friends, as always. Karibuni, please introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Lily Okero. I'm a psychologist by training and also a naturalist.
Hi, my name is Mama Almasi and I'm a phytotherapist. Karibu.
Asante. So before we go any further, our kettle today, Lisa, what's in our kettle?
Today is all about our mind, mental wellness. So we have a very, very yummy drink here. And one interesting thing that we have here is chamomile. All about the mind. And another one, Warana, welcome.
Asante. So what does chamomile do in terms of mental wellness?
Chamomile calms you. So when you're feeling worked out, you're feeling stressed, chamomile just calms you. Yes.
It's nice, interesting. And there was a drop of lemon, eh?
Yes. Yeah, for flavor and also for the vitamins.
Asante. So let's go right into our topic, mental wellness. Maybe we can start by defining what is mental wellness, what is mental illness.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception about mental health and mental wellness because most of the time, even now when I say mental health, what comes to your mind? What is the first thing you think about?
The brain.
The brain? What about
something to do with the brain, the mind?
I think society in the past, whenever we talk anything mental, it looks like uendazimu. Yeah. We've had a very, I think, wrong perception of what mental wellness is.
So it's what you're saying is true. For some people, immediately you say mental health, they actually don't think about a healthy person. They think about a mentally sick person, someone who's out there in the streets.
So the negative.
Yes, the negative thoughts or the sickness, the disease of the mind is what most people think about. And it's important to just clarify then when you're talking about health, it's generally about your holistic well-being, spirit, body, mind, and your emotions. And specifically, mental health is defined where an individual is able to cope with stress. They're able to, and it is also the well-being of an individual emotionally, socially, and psychologically. You're able to deal with your everyday life issues. Like you can wake up, you can go to work. If you're a student, you can go to school. If you're running your business, you do your required activities without feeling overwhelmed. And therefore, you are at optimum functioning. So therefore, then we say you're mentally healthy or mentally well. And then now with mental illness, this is a disruption of your functioning in the sense of you're emotionally disrupted. So that means like your neurohormones. These are the hormones in your brain, like dopamine, serotonin, all these other hormones that are supposed to help you balance and function normally, regulate your mood. So you find mental illness causes a destabilization in your mood, in your emotions, in your social functions, and also in your ability to manage your stress. And overall, when now these functions are affected, you're not able to go to work as usual. Why? You're feeling low, you're feeling you have lack of energy, you're feeling disrupted, like you're feeling irritable all the time. So all these are symptoms that could indicate you're not mentally well. When you're feeling like sometimes you also have a burst of excessive energy. You feel like you can't sleep. You're working around the clock 3 days in a row. You're just working around the clock.
Yes, to cook,
you're cleaning, you're cooking, you're doing everything. And then after that, you get a really bad dip. And you will find sometimes the excessive energy, for it to be considered an illness, it lasts for a period of more than a week to 2 weeks. Or longer even. When you find somebody is too energetic, sometimes very aggressive, they have a mood dysregulation, they are highly irritable. That is highly indicative of a mood disorder. And then also, mental illness affects your perceptions. We sense or we perceive things with our five senses. So that is how you hear, how you see, how you smell. All our senses, feel, which is touch, smell, taste, and hearing. All of these are affected when you have a mental disorder or a mental disease or a mental illness. So sometimes you'll find people seeing things that that other people around them are not able to see.
Like what, hallucinations?
Hallucinations, basically. Sometimes I will say, when I look at the curtain, for example, I'm seeing this is a curtain, but someone else is saying they're seeing a ghost. You know, the way the curtain can be swaying. So then they're seeing a ghost, but everybody else around them is seeing it's a curtain. And the distortion of the mind in perception is also a contributing factor to mental illness. Sometimes people hear voices. There are people who have heard voices to kill themselves, to kill others, to burn houses, to do stuff. Sometimes it's not even, sometimes a voice tells you don't shower, and you're not showering, and you're not taking care of yourself. And you see, some of these things actually stem from your gut. Because when there is an imbalance in your gut, remember 90% of your serotonin is produced in the gut, and your gut affects like your GABA hormones, it affects your dopamine, it affects your serotonin. These are the same neurohormones and can cause a dysfunction in your perception. If you have, like we said, mental illness is where, again, your mood or your emotions are destabilized, or you're feeling irritable, you're feeling your low mood, or your moods are too over the board, both extremes, too much or too little. So if you have very little dopamine, chances are you'll feel you have low energy. You'll feel sad for too long. You will feel you can't perform tasks that you would normally do without difficulty. And that is why I feel it's important for us to talk about the gut and its relationship with the mind. Yeah. Interesting, right?
So I was actually coming to that. I was like, okay, now that we understand what let's talk about the dopamine and the serotonin. Just from a layman's, what are these? And then now explain them from there.
So, like I said, we have hormones. Some of these hormones are the way help you move, help you to do the involuntary movements, things that you don't normally have control over, for instance. I remember in one of our previous episodes, I mentioned how when you have these feel-good hormones like serotonin and even the dopamine, you will tend to smile more, be even easy to be around.
Hormones.
The neurohormones, some of them are feel-good hormones. So they help regulate your mood, they help regulate your body temperature and stuff like that. If you find there is cortisol. Cortisol, again, is affected by your gut to a great degree. It's a stress hormone. Sometimes you even feel, when you're feeling stressed or anxious, you will feel it in your gut. You will feel diarrhea. You will feel butterflies. And also when you're happy, you'll find flutters in your gut, in your tummy, and also in your heart. And these hormones, like I was saying, they are neurohormones specifically that affect mental wellness. Cortisol is one of the hormones. The GABA affects anxiety or nervousness. The dopamine affects how good or bad you feel. And that is why, for instance, if I take alcohol, it will shoot my dopamine. I'll feel nice. It will give me a very high. And then when the alcohol goes down, the dopamine will have shot down so far. Then I will start feeling irritable. I can't sleep. I need to toe a lock. You know, the way somebody who has drunk too much is like, what I need to toe a lock. Serotonin, again, when you eat things like chocolate and stuff like that, they make you feel nice. They're, those your happy foods. Different people have different happy foods. I remember some time back, I had a client whose happy food was managu boiled and waru boiled.
Oh, wow.
When she eats those, you would feel like it's when I'm eating cheese in everything. I love cheese, yeah?
Cheese.
So she's at her best. And that's why I'm saying, for someone else, that is what is good for them. But for me, maybe it's something with cheese. I hate chocolate. Some people love chocolate, do you? You love
You hate
chocolate.
chocolate.
I don't love chocolate.
It's my weakness.
I did,
Even
imagine.
the dark one?
I
Lily,
eat
you're
dark
not
chocolate
serious.
for my wellness,
Yeah.
but I don't like it. You know, I just finished a chocolate I was bought for 2 months ago.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. It has taken 2 months for me to finish a small bar of chocolate.
A moment of silence.
Moment of
A
silence.
moment of silence.
I love chocolate. I love chocolate.
Yeah, but you see, for someone else, that chocolate is what boosts their dopamine.
Yeah.
Personally, things like ice cubes, things like, you know, like I can eat ice cream, but give me a milkshake, they're not the same thing, but I can eat a whole bucket of ice cream. In fact, chocolate ice cream, chocolate chip ice cream, but give me chocolate, for some reason it doesn't work. So different people have different things that stimulate. When you eat them, they stimulate these hormones. And therefore, when there's an imbalance in your gut, remember again, when there's toxins in your gut, say you have leaky gut syndrome, and then you have the bacteria and the microbiome dying and therefore releasing toxins, and again, this gets absorbed into your system, which causes inflammation in your system. Automatically, this will also cause an inflammation in your brain.
Yes.
More often than not. When the brain is inflamed, it can also cause neurological disorders. These are physiological, like you can find the brain swelling, therefore you cannot function like everybody else. So it's important to also know that you can have like neurological disorders as well as mental disorders. Neurological, you see like a doctor who specializes in the physical brain. For mental disorders, you see a psychiatrist who specializes in the mind, because you can't see the mind. And what you eat determines more often than not your mental stability. If you're also eating overstimulating foods, for example, the tea that we are taking today it revitalizes you. When you're feeling you have low energy, it stimulates you. When you're taking coffee too much, you're taking coffee round the clock, you will have a sleep disorder. When you don't sleep well, over time, it can affect your mood and it will therefore affect your functioning. And you see, most of these things we ingest with our mouth, they get absorbed into your system, they affect your neurohormones, therefore they affect how you're functioning. And with all this happening in your gut, you find that it is important for us to balance your gut. It's important for us to balance your gut, and therefore it's also important for you to have nutrition, a healthy, nutritious diet that supports mental illness. Something else, I know there's a lot to be said about mental wellness.
Just before you continue, may I interrupt?
Yes.
I have a question. You mentioned hearing voices.
Yeah.
So when these people hear voices, wasipelekwe church, they are not demons.
I think I need to clarify that. Thank you for asking. Mental health is not witchcraft. It is not demons. It is not kuangaliwa ama kutupiwa macho ama all those things.
Oh man.
It is not.
So please bust that myth for us.
You know, so many people believe ile familia wakona ugonjwa ya akili walilaaniwa. It is not a curse. It is not demons. Demons cannot be cast out by taking tablets or getting injections. Where have you seen? So I'm a Christian. I do not dispute the supernatural world and its
because I was
effect in
about
this
to ask you,
world.
how do you explain this? The spiritual world, especially for people who believe so much in the spiritual world and vis-a-vis such mental issues.
I'm a Christian, but I also believe in science because mental illness we have scientific data that proves that it is a disease.
It is, actually.
We have medications that help to treat mental illness. We have foods that you can eat and habits that you can develop to help you cope with everyday mental health issues. So to answer your question, when you see somebody hearing voices saying, let me give a case in point. I've been practicing as a psychologist or as a therapist for over 15 years. And a big part of like psychosis or different kinds of mental illnesses that includes hallucinations. One time we got a client, a student from one of the local universities, and he left the university having heard voices that told him his father had become a devil worshipper. He should go home and rescue his family. He went home. This is a very calm and nice young man with a very good trajectory for his career, never experienced these symptoms before. He went home, wasn't talking to his dad, but was talking to his siblings and his mother. Then the next hallucination, the first one is he's hearing voices to tell him his father has become a devil worshipper, wants to sacrifice the mom and the family rather. Then the next thing that happened, he said he had voices that an angel told him he's Jesus. So he walked from his home. His home is not too far from Eldoret. He walked from his home to Burnt Forest on foot.
Wow.
The same way that you would find Jesus walked from town to town. Exactly. So and you see, it's not his fault because in his head, and this is why we need to minimize the stigma. In his head, it is real.
He believes
it is as real as as he's saying it. It's not his fault. You shouldn't laugh at such a person. In fact, you should embrace them with love because he wasn't violent. He was just saying what he was hearing.
What he was experiencing.
And it was an imbalance in the neurohormones. The medications that he was put on, eventually we got people to bring him to hospital. He was taken to hospital. He received therapy, psychotherapy, and he also was put on medication. With the medication, the neurohormones stabilized. And so, like I'm saying, if you have these things that can elevate your, overstimulate your neurohormones or cause an imbalance, you're not eating well, say you have anorexia, it's highly associated with anxiety disorders. So anyway, to cut the long story short, this client was able to receive medication, which balanced his neurohormones. He got psychotherapy, which helped him to eventually accept that he has a mental illness and to commit to taking medication long term because that is what was good for him. So for some people, it's when you're feeling, there are days, everybody has those days where you just don't feel like doing anything. You want to stay at home and relax, unwind and reboot. But now you find there's someone who is like that. Remember, we said your gut controls how your mood.
Yes.
We've said serotonin is produced in your gut. So depending on how you're eating or not eating well, you will not be able to synthesize the 90% of the serotonin you need, meaning serotonin is low. Therefore, sometimes you need medication to boost. Otherwise, you can do things you love. It will boost your dopamine. If you love Julie, you love tending to the garden, same as you. You love nurturing your flowers, being in the, like in an earthy environment. Do that. It will give you energy. When I have low energy, I go and do my formulations. I'm alone and I'm creating. So I'm feeling something purposeful. I'm doing something purposeful.
The juices are flowing.
And therefore the mood comes back to being stable and the irritability, the anxiety disappears. So when you do, there are people who choose to pray. Like I said, I also believe in prayer, but combine your prayer with medication. If you get malaria, will you pray it out only?
No, you take medicine.
You take antimalarials or you take medication for malaria and you combine it with prayer because they say God heals, but the doctor treats. So let's combine that and we stop the stigma associated with mental illness. And another example I would give for like why we need to stop the stigma. Like the way you'll find somebody who's mentally ill, mostly schizophrenics, you'll find somebody, it's very hot out there, they've put on 10 jackets, like a jacket on top of another jacket, and wamejifunika na
Gloves,
kabuti,
kofia.
everything. And they tell you they are freezing. I had a client who had lived abroad and has experienced snow. So in her head, she's not even in Kenya. She's somewhere else and she's feeling, and it's winter. And her body is processing what she's feeling based on
the mind,
the perception in her mind, and that's her reality. So you're thinking it's too hot. Where is this person overdressed? No, in her own world, she's feeling like, I'm cold, and she's dressing appropriately
and the body
according to
aligns
her
to that.
perception. Yes. So you need to support this person, give them medication so that they can now come back to the real world. You as a person who cares for somebody with mental illness, because we have them all over, if you're the person who has identified an individual with symptoms, you need to enter their world first, understand their world, then now bring them out of their world to the world of reality with a lot of empathy, no judgment, because it's not the person's fault. There are people who have bipolar disorder. Somebody can come and start breaking down things here, and they are mentally ill. It's not their fault. Sometimes it's even a defense mechanism.
Is a really bad problem.
And then you tie them with ropes, sijui na makamba. It's so dehumanizing.
Chapa, even they get beaten because you think they're just being rude.
Yeah. So the important thing to know is for individuals to educate themselves. What is mental health? What is mental illness? What is it not? How can I help somebody by detecting early warning signs? If you start to notice your friend has suffered from depression, has had suicidal thoughts in the past, every time they say, I'm just not feeling like it, you make plans, they're not showing up. They love to play soccer, they're not showing up for that soccer. You will come for KNG Fridays, all of a sudden, they're not showing up. They used to call you for kefir, eating nicely, eating everything that they're required. Then all of a sudden, you don't hear from them. When you tell them, they tell you, I'm tired, I just don't feel like it. Take a further step and actually check on this person. They might not be well. And correction, sometimes it just starts with a nutritious diet. It starts with like activities of, say, journaling, mindfulness, breathing exercises, just being aware and present in your current environment. And like some people will walk barefoot on grass. It's called grounding. Some people will just do stretches when you're feeling like pressure is building up, somebody is agitating you. Walk away from situations that are triggering. Meditation also helps a lot. But the number one thing, just understand yourself and know when you're deviating from your norm.
May I share something about depression?
Yes.
Is quite near our hearts. My brother, my follower, we lost him actually. He had depression. And we didn't know at first what was wrong with him. And of course, he went to see a doctor and he was told it's depression. Then they said that we should remove the source of depression from his life. Of course, that one was on and off. And one of the things that I noticed, Jack, my brother, he loved omena.
Omena fish.
Now that you are talking, now that you are talking about the gut and mental health, his body was asking for what he was not having. Because you need the omegas, you need the B vitamins, you need your magnesium. And many times we didn't understand what was going on because Jack was this very calm and quiet person. But when we noticed his voice has changed, imekuwa soprano kidogo, we know, there is something wrong with Jack. If he talks too fast or too much, we know there is something wrong. So the way you're saying, we need to know our close associates. If something changes, it's emotional because I wish with you how to help him. Because he went through life his life was sad. Yeah, he was disappointed with so many things. He was a runner, and just before he would reach the finishing, he would say his feet would, I don't know, do what. And yeah, so he started having depression. And of course, we had lost our mom, and he was the only son. So many things I wish we had gone through therapy. So for viewers, if there is something that is happening to you that you know it's different,
or your loved one,
yeah, or your loved one, please musifikirie ni sijui ni nini anajifanya ama ni kisirani ama ni nini. Yeah. And the Lord made the body in such an intelligent way. Many times it will ask, and of course we would buy him the omena. He loved it. Yeah. But the body was asking for it. So eat well. The gut is very important for our mental health. And dopamine, by the way, the feel-good hormone, the gut makes 400 more times than the pineal gland. Yeah. So it's all about the gut. Yeah.
It's true. Thank you for sharing your story. And you've highlighted many things that I think are important to note. For instance, you are able to identify he's speaking too fast. Sometimes those are some of the symptoms of depression. Are you speaking too fast or too slow that other people can notice? Are you moving too fast or too slow that other people can notice? Are you sleeping well or not sleeping well? Are you feeling, how many days in the last 2 weeks do you feel like you don't have energy to do the things you do? And you find there were possibly a number of triggers around him. Say you want to pursue a goal, but every time you want to overcome something, something is happening to your feet. It can be a very bad trigger. And it brings me to also highlight causes of mental illness. You see, the way you can be predisposed to getting diabetes or cancer, you can also be predisposed. That is why when you come to a mental health facility, you'll find they're asking you, do you have a history of mental illness in your family?
Yeah.
Because if you have, then all it takes, it's in your epigenetics now. Your genetics, epigenetics, the genetic makeup has registered that if we find this trigger, this is how we will respond. So therefore, if you find in your family there has been anyone with any mental illness, it's important for you to realize that you are predisposed. And therefore, as you're saying, seek out therapy, seek out preventive measures, eat well. Because also in your gut, it has 500 million neurons.
Yeah.
These neurons make your gut like your second brain. Sometimes you will sense something in your gut that you have not sensed in your mind. When you sense fear, before your brain interprets it as fear, your gut has already sensed it. The nervous system through the vagus nerve has already alerted your brain, and now you start developing adrenaline either for fight or flight. So it's very important to also recognize those senses. You say, I've had a gut feeling this is not going to go well. I had a gut feeling this was going to go fine. Trust that instinct, because these hormones that are generated in your gut, like the serotonin, it regulates your mood and it regulates your happiness. So if you're not eating well or synthesizing or having a balanced microbiome in your gut, you will not be able to generate the serotonin that you need. Your dopamine will help it's a reward and a motivation hormone. It is when you do something and you feel good about it, then you feel rewarded. So it encourages you, it gives you motivation to do more. When you drink alcohol and you feel good, you will tend to want a second or a third drink. When you eat chocolate, when you eat junk, that is why they tell you try to train your palate or to train your system to eat healthy. Because again, when you eat healthy, for instance, if I eat mahindi choma and I know, not mahindi choma, boiled maize, and I know I have a culprit here, you feel really good. Mimi, when I drink supu tu iko na pilipili na herbs, yes, I feel so nice. I will have a second and a third one. And now a new acquired taste is the kombucha and the kefir. Now I just enjoy. And those ones will motivate you to keep going with the same habit.
Do you know kefir means the good feeling?
It does.
Yeah. Kefir makes you relaxed. The good feeling. That's what it
nice.
usually means. Yeah.
And then your GABA hormones, these are the ones that calm you. So when you drink things like the chamomile, like mint, like what, they stimulate that, and it will make you calm. Therefore, minimize anxiety and also like manage your neurotransmitters to be more alert and active. So your gut is literally your second brain, and therefore we need to take better care of our gut and help our gut to be more balanced.
About alcohol, you mentioned it. Alcohol, when it's taken, maybe the first few days, it will give you that boost. But after that, alcohol is very bad. Yeah, it actually kills your gut bacteria. So please, even if alcohol will make you think, promise people jobs, speak a lot of English and be courageous, and you can tune that girl like, please know that alcohol actually will poison your gut. It will mess you up. You do not need alcohol, as she had mentioned in a shoot before. You do not need alcohol in any form. Fobe wacheneni nayo.
Hata kadogo tu.
Research shows no amount of alcohol is good for you.
You know the way there used to be another myth again.
Yes.
That a little is good for the stomach.
No, that is wine, and especially red wine. Yeah,
But
freshly
recent research has shown even that red wine, no amount of alcohol. You can take grape juice. Grape juice
So
is
the fermentation,
good for
I
you.
think, is what's good for you.
The alcohol content, once it starts forming, no amount of alcohol is good for you because it affects your neurohormones and can lead to mental illness, can lead to fatty liver diseases, can lead to kidney function disorders. So avoid alcohol at all costs. And when you start, you will need just this thought. Something
So the
small
addiction
to give me the
issues,
high. But to get the same dopamine level that I need, I will have to take half. So your tolerance increases the more you use. And therefore, it is good to train your palate to acquire healthier eating habits so that you start eating more and more of the good foods.
So we get our dopamine from food. Good, healthy food. Yes.
And then if you're mentally ill, just seek help.
Yeah, I think there is no shame. There is no shame in seeking help. We really have to understand that it's just a disease like any other. Yeah, and a lot of support. Family support is important. Your social circles is important. The people you bring around you is very important. So that even when such things happen to you, you have a good support system.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
So I think we've also talked about how to support our gut in relation to having a good mental wellness. We've talked about the probiotics. We've talked about support. Could there be anything else? We've talked about avoiding alcohol and what it does to the gut.
Eat healthy. Know your farmer. I keep preaching that. Get to know what the farmer is doing to the plants because everything starts from the farmer. If she poisons the food and you think you're eating that very healthy managu and it is laced with pesticides, my friend, you're not doing yourself a service. Get to know your farmer, appreciate farmers, eat whole, organic, natural food. Avoid sugars, like we keep saying, and avoid processed food.
Wow, this has been a very heavy topic for me. I don't know if you people feel the same. It's been quite a heavy topic, and I think it's because it's a topic that really touches on society in very sensitive ways. Yeah, so thank you, our viewers, for being with us. We will never stop talking about the gut, even as we are about to wind up this season. I think we will still be touching on the gut and also mental wellness in other aspects as we continue. So always keep with us here. We'll continue these conversations. It has been really nice having you. This episode has been shot at Garden Peaks Farm Produce Shop, and also it's been sponsored by Kali Naturals and Shama Fresh. Thank you for being with us.